Hello, I told you I'd be back much sooner because I was almost finished my current book when I recorded the last video. So here I am again. And I've gone a bit off piste this time. You might have heard in previous videos, normally what I do is I have a Goodreads account, which I've had for years, but now I utilise it a lot since I've worked in a library for the past year almost now. So on my Goodreads list I have a to be read list, which I'm always adding stuff to, so it's an internal list. It's got probably at least 500 books on there, and I just keep adding them all the time because I look through the recommendations that Goodreads gives me, as well as any that I find out about that I'm interested in. So I'm forever adding stuff to my want to be read list. And because I work in the library, what I do is on my hold list, on my library card, I always have 5 reserves on there. So as they come in, those reserves I basically pick off my to be read list, and I always have 5 on there, and as they come in then I get to read them. So otherwise I can't really decide what what to read. So yeah, that's what I usually do. So I read them in the order that they come in, basically. I can't always get everything that I want, but I can get a fair few, and some take longer than others to come in and all that. But on this occasion I went away from my to be read list. Oh my gosh. But yeah, basically the week before last I was away for around a week, and I thought that I would have a lot more time for reading potentially in that week. So basically my reserves were coming in a bit slowly at the time, so I only had a few books left at home, and one of them I was nearly finished. So I thought, just before I was off work, I was like, oh, I'm actually gonna have to pick a couple of books off the shelves, because if I've got extra time to read I might be able to get around to reading them. As it turned out, I didn't have that much extra time, but nevertheless I had the intention to get maybe 1 or 2 books off the shelves at my workplace, and as is inevitable, I actually picked 3 off the shelf. So one of them that I picked that wasn't on my to be read list is this one. It's called Confessions of a Bookseller by Shaun, and I thought it sounded really funny from reading the back. So it's basically like a diary of a bookseller, and all the amusing things that happens in this bookshop. And at times I was kind of confused whether it was actually fiction or non-fiction, but it is actually non-fiction. It was in the non-fiction section, but the way it reads, it was kind of hard to say. But it is from a real bookseller, Shaun, the writer. He owns a second-hand bookshop in Scotland, and basically this is like a little diary, so it's set in the form of diary entries, and is talking about the everyday occurrences in his bookshop. And yeah, the book blurb at the back sounded quite amusing, so I thought, oh, it could be quite entertaining, especially as I work in a library, and there certainly is amusing things that happen. However, even though there was kind of amusing parts in it, it wasn't really as funny as I expected, so I was a little bit disappointed actually. At times it was even a little bit boring. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I like the idea of it very much. Very entertaining idea, but it wasn't quite as entertaining as I thought it was going to be, unfortunately. So I think I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. But yeah, it was not too bad. It was not too bad. It just wasn't. I guess I was expecting it to be a lot more humorous, but maybe because it's non-fiction, it's not fiction. You know, life is not always funny and exciting, is it? So I guess that's a true reflection in this book. So yeah, so I went off piste of my to be read list to read this one, and I think I've got a few other books kind of similar on my to be read list, but yeah, we'll see when I get to those. But yeah, so that's what I made of this one. It was, you know, it was an alright read. Alright, that's all I can say really. It's an alright read. I'm reading a fiction book next, so I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, so if you borrow or buy this one, just don't expect to laugh that much, because it's, yeah, just average really. So yeah, I'll see you when I finish my next book. So yeah, see you soon.